What excites our greatest admiration in the Indian character was his stolid indifference to torture. While meeting his death at the stake, or when suffering torture previous to it, no amount of pain could force a groan from his lips, but his last breath would carry a sneering taunt to his persecutors. Early history is full of examples of their eloquence and oratory, persuasive and effective. Before going on the war path, they would hold their war feast, and after singing their war songs and dancing their war dance, they would depart from the villages in single or Indian file, as it was called, the chief leading the way. They would generally step in one another's tracks, so that an enemy crossing their trail could not tell how many were in the war party. Their conflicts were carried on not in open combat, but from behind trees and logs, exposing as little of their body as possible. The ambush and sudden attack from cover was their favorite method of attacking the enemy. They showed a high degree of cunning and strategy in misleading the enemy. In their movements through the trackless forests, they moved with a silence equaling that of the stealthy panther, avoiding the breaking of a twig or the turning of a leaf. Equally skillful were they in tracking the foe by means of these marks. Even in the days of their greatest strength, the united cantons of the dreaded Iroquois could not have mustered an army equal in numbers to the population of some of the smaller towns that now lie thickly scattered over their lost domain, and it is well known that the whole of the region from the Ohio River eastward to the Allegheny Mountains was, properly speaking, nothing but a hunting ground for the Six Nations, in which the Delawares and other tribes dwelt merely by their sufferance. Report of Joshua Fry to the Honorable Louis Burwell. Christopher Gist's Journals by William M. Darlington. Pouchot's Memoirs, Roxbury edition, 1866. The memorandum in full is as follows. The Six Nations consist of Mohawks, 100 men, Oneidas and Tuscaroras, 400, Cayugas, 220, Onondagas, 230, Senecas, 650. Total, 1,600. The Delawares and Munsees, 1,600. The Shawnees, Scioto, 400. Wyandots, Sandusky and Detroit, 300. Ottawas, Detroit and Lake Michigan, 600. Chippewas, all the lakes, said to be 5,000. Potawatomi, Detroit and Lake Michigan, 400. Piankashas, Kickapoos, Muscatons, Vermilions, Wyattotans, and Wabash, 800. Miamis or Picts, 300. Mingos of Pluggestown, 60. Total men, 10,060. The estimates of the number of Indians who, when the whites came, were living within the limits of what is now the United States vary enormously. Some have adopted the absurd figure of 16 millions. Others think that there were never more than there are now, namely about 300,000. The latter estimate is probably nearer the truth than the former or any other very large number. At no point which may be selected did the number of souls upon the Indian Territory bear any considerable ratio to the number of square miles of country which they occupied in the shape of villages. History of Beaver County, Pennsylvania, 1904.